Your one click on the subscribe button makes a huge difference. Thank you for your kind support.
Desert Dawn delivers its most shocking twist in the third act when it's revealed that Deputy Barnes, the seemingly gruff but straightforward law enforcement partner to Sheriff Luke Easton, has actually been working with Fernando Carrillo's criminal operation the entire time. This revelation fundamentally changes our understanding of the entire narrative and recontextualizes many of Barnes' actions and attitudes throughout the film. From the very beginning, Barnes is positioned as the reluctant deputy who resents Luke's appointment as sheriff. When they first meet, there's palpable tension, with Barnes clearly feeling passed over for the position. He tells Luke, "You've been in charge of the body for years, and you haven't been by me. Joder, you didn't even try the academy." This initial characterization sets Barnes up as the classic resentful subordinate, a common trope in police dramas that Desert Dawn deliberately leverages to hide his true allegiances. Barnes consistently undermines Luke's investigation into Kresman's death, which initially reads as mere professional jealousy or different policing styles. He criticizes Luke's approach when questioning a young drug dealer and dismisses leads that Luke pursues. These actions, which initially seem like the natural friction between a by-the-book veteran and a more intuitive newcomer, take on a sinister meaning once we understand Barnes' true role. He's actively working to prevent Luke from uncovering the truth. The depth of Barnes' betrayal becomes clear during the film's climactic confrontation when he admits to Luke, "I arranged for Sara to be trafficked when you left town." This devastating revelation explains why Barnes has been so resistant to Luke's investigation. Every step closer to solving Kresman's murder brings Luke closer to discovering Barnes' involvement in Sara's trafficking and eventual death. Barnes further confesses that he brought you back to town specifically to frame you as the fall guy in this criminal enterprise, revealing that Luke's appointment as sheriff was never meant to bring justice but rather to create a convenient scapegoat. Barnes' collaboration with Fernando wasn't a recent development but had been ongoing for years. During Luke's 3,785-day absence from his hometown, Barnes had positioned himself as a trusted member of the sheriff's department while simultaneously serving Fernando's interests. This long-term double role allowed Fernando's trafficking and drug operations to flourish without serious investigation, as Barnes could redirect inquiries and protect the cartel's activities from within law enforcement. What makes Barnes' betrayal particularly devastating is the personal nature of his actions toward Luke and Sara. When Luke left town, Barnes didn't just passively allow Sara to fall into trafficking. He actively arranged it, perhaps as revenge against Luke or simply as a business opportunity. As Luke's former friend, Barnes would have known Sara's vulnerabilities after losing her parents and brother, making his decision to target her especially cruel. Throughout the film, Barnes displays subtle signs of his true allegiance that become obvious only in retrospect. His knowledge of certain details about the case, his attempts to discourage certain lines of investigation, and his convenient absences during key moments all point to his role as Fernando's inside man. In one telling scene, when discussing the X-90 device found at Kresman's crime scene, Barnes quickly changes the subject and suggests they focus elsewhere, a clear attempt to steer Luke away from evidence that might connect to the trafficking operation. The revelation about Barnes also explains why Sara's disappearance was never properly investigated. As a member of the sheriff's department, Barnes would have been in a position to ensure that any reports about Sara were overlooked or downplayed. This systemic failure protected not just Barnes but the entire trafficking network that Fernando had established in the town. Barnes' ultimate plan, to frame Luke as the fall guy, reveals the calculated nature of his betrayal. By bringing Luke back as sheriff and positioning him to investigate crimes connected to Fernando's operation, Barnes creates a situation where Luke could take the blame if the trafficking ring ever faced external investigation. This elaborate setup shows that Barnes wasn't merely corrupted by money or power but was a key strategic player in Fernando's organization. When confronted with his betrayal, Barnes doesn't show remorse for what he did to Sara or Luke. Instead, he attempts to justify his actions through a twisted logic, suggesting that, when Sara discovered that Fernando was involved in human trafficking, she became a liability. His casual reference to Sara as a liability, rather than a person, reveals how completely he has embraced the dehumanizing perspective of Fernando's criminal enterprise. The revelation of Barnes' true allegiance serves as a powerful commentary on institutional corruption. As a sworn law enforcement officer, Barnes represents the subversion of the very systems meant to protect the vulnerable. His betrayal is not just of Luke and Sara personally, but of the oath he took and the community he was supposed to serve. This systemic corruption explains why Fernando refers to himself as the sheriff's guardian. He has effectively captured local law enforcement through Barnes. In the film's violent climax, Barnes meets his end during the shootout at Hotel Olga. Fernando's men ultimately eliminate Barnes, showing that even in criminal hierarchies, betrayal has consequences. There's a dark poetic justice in Barnes being killed by the very organization he served, mirroring how his betrayal of his badge and oath ultimately led to his downfall. Barnes' complex betrayal elevates Desert Dawn beyond a simple crime thriller into a meditation on how easily institutions can be corrupted from within. His character serves as a warning about the dangers of unchecked power and the way systems designed to protect can be turned against the vulnerable when the wrong people gain influence within them.